guys. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Firelink Podcast, episode number 40. Hachi Machi, 40th episode for Wednesday, October 9th, 2024. I'm Marty Sleva, as always, joined by Casey Wosu, Nick Calandra, and of course, producer Eric. And we got a show for y'all. We're going to talk about the big Nintendo announcement. Everyone's been waiting. Everyone's like, Nintendo, what do you have to show? They announced two things. And I'm going to tell you, I only put one of them in the doc. We got a secret one on the side that you'll all be excited about. A bunch of games have come out, including Metaphor ReFantazio, Silent Hill, Zelda. Well, just a lot of stuff for us to talk about. We've been playing. And of course, our main topic is going to be big Halo news from over the weekend that 343 Industries has rebranded, renamed themselves, moved Halo onto a different engine. And what does that mean for the future of a franchise that I don't want to say one of us holds very dear, because I really like Halo at a certain point in my life, like, meant a lot to me.
Same. That was the first online video game like I played with. I had a clan and everything back in the day.
We were just Halo November 9th, Halo 2 and Jack 3 came out on the same day. I bought both of them. I brought them back to my dorm, and I did not open Jack 3 for a month because all we played was Halo 2. Yeah. So going over this news, and can Halo return to that glory, like become the guy? Hey, Xbox needs a guy, like a guy. Nintendo's got a couple of guys. If I'm be honest, they got Mario, they got Zelda, a couple of guys. Smash, which is just like a game about a bunch of guys. I don't know. Does Sony have guys? Could Astrobot be Sony's guy?
They keep pushing Astrobot. It's not. Their guy is Kratos. Their guy is, or their gal is Aloy.
They're not guys.
But like, yeah, they're all lesser guys than Nintendo's guys. But those are at least their guys.
Yeah.
Like, who are Xbox's guys?
Master Chief was the guy.
Was keyword.
So we'll talk about whether Master Chief can be this.
I mean, he hasn't been starting the game for a while.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just so like, I think Marcus to me is Kratos, which, like, I love seeing both of them, but they're not the guy. Like, they're not a guy where if I saw him on the street, I was like, hell yeah, there's that guy. I think Astrobot's that guy.
You would absolutely say hell yeah if you saw Kratos in the streets.
Yeah, we did when we were at PAX West.
Did we? We saw Kratos?
Yeah. There was heavyset Kratos in the streets.
Kratos! We love our heavyset Kratos. Thank you all so much, everyone who's watching live right now on YouTube. If you're listening on your podcast service of choice, we appreciate you. Remember, our stuff is powered by your incredible super chats, your donos, your patronage, and just honestly your good vibes across the board. Before we get into the actual news, I have a secret news. Nick, the real news of the week. Mountain Dew is getting a new logo. Have you heard? Bam! CNN right in the chat. Mountain Dew is getting a new logo, and it's going back to its roots, which are the mountainous. Because Mountain Dew was created in the Smoky Mountains, and it's going back to like a retro nostalgia Mountain Dew logo. And I'm going to tell you guys, I'm excited for this because I'm sick of this edgelord shit. I don't want the anger. I don't want Mountain Dew to be anger. That's anger logo. I don't want that anger logo. We don't need that. Why is everyone so mad? There's only soda. And so it's going back to the fucking titular mountains. And let me tell you, Smoky Mountains, where Mountain Dew was created, top 5 American mountain. Top 5 American mountain. And that's what you want to put out there.
Yeah. At least it's not like boring, every other logo on the planet these days. It still looks like Mountain Dew logo.
No, it's going back. Let me tell you, back to the roots. That's what everything's about. Halo's going to be doing it. Everyone's going to be going back to the roots.
That's actually a really good point. Yeah, like that seems to be the way for these big corporations. They're like, oh, we've fallen from the path. We've strayed. How did we get here? We have to remember where we came from. And they say the mountains. We came from the mountains.
What was Zelda and Breath of the Wild? They were like, we got to go back. We got to figure out why do people like the original Zelda? We got to stray
too far.
Yeah.
At least it's not. What's that? What did Sierra Mist change their logo back to?
Starry.
Yeah, they just gave up on the name Sierra Mist entirely.
Yeah, which is a bummer because Mist is cool. Like the idea
Mist is cool.
Mist, I think is cool. Mist, Fog. We'll be talking about Silent Hill 2. Like fog is cool. Oh my god, I saw it on PC. They're just removing the frog from Silent Hill 2. And let me tell you, still a good looking game. Silent Hill 2, still a great looking game.
Is Dr. Pepper like the only one that really hasn't changed its logo much? Because Dr. Pibb looks like Dr. Pepper.
Mr. Pibb. He's not a
Mr.
doctor. Jesus Christ.
Does not have
He's not a doctor.
He's just a loser. He's a practicing loser.
He's Mr. We're all misters. None of us are doctors. Don't go.
He dropped out of med school. It's all right.
Yeah.
He owns it.
Do you guys have a favorite mountain range?
No.
I'm putting you on the spot.
This is an easy question. No, I do not.
No. I mean, Jersey doesn't have a lot of mountains, right? Kansas doesn't have a lot of mountains.
Jersey has some mixed terrain.
I mean,
the Rocky Mountains.
Mixed terrain does not equal mountains.
I like the Rocky Mountains for the name.
I love the Rockies
because they're clearly rocky and they're mountains.
Yeah, and they're like, I feel like they create a natural border, which is what like a good fantasy mountain does.
Yeah,
it's like I'm just gonna fucking put a border here, and there's shit to the left, shit to the right, and everything else goes. The Tetons, Grand Tetons are great. Sierra Nevadas, a great.
New Jersey does have mountains.
Like Lower Appalachia?
I don't know how low Lower Appalachia is, but Mount Tammany, elevation of 1,500 feet.
It has a mountain.
There's a couple, but this is the biggest one.
Also, shout out to
Party Siren thing too.
What was that?
The Misty Mountains.
Oh, that's a little loader. We're gonna be talking about that on Tuesday. Tune into the rewind if you want to hear a little bit about the Misty Mountains. But yeah, shout out to Mountain Dew. Congrats. RIP, whatever you want to say to Mountain Dew. Everything's fine.
All these bottles sitting on my desk, these gonna be worth something?
No, probably not.
No, they will not. I bought before we go into the actual news, I bought, and the actual news is not real news. The only actual news is our main topic today. I bought when Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace came out, they had a big promotion where like a month beforehand for Pepsi and Mountain Dew and like all that shit, they had cans with characters of the movies. You could collect like, I think it was like 24 different cans. So you'd get like an Anakin can, an Obi-Wan can, a Sebulba can, a Darth Maul can.
A Sebulba can?
Sebulba. Yeah, Chesko Sebulba. First off, Sebulba, greatest pod racer of all time. I know people are like, he's like dirty and he kills people on the track. It's fine. It's pod racing.
There's no rules in pod racing. What? Like,
literally no rules. He could shoot fire out of his things, and the announcer's like, well, that is what he's doing. Fucking Jabba runs it. What do you think Jabba's going to put rules in that thing? I ended up accumulating a can of every character, kept them in a closet, went away to college. What do you think happened? They all exploded. Spoilers, they all exploded.
Yeah,
they all exploded.
My friend in high school did the exact thing.
Yeah.
Like he was hoarding like all the Game Fuel cans, and then he like left them in there for a year, and then one day he just opened his closet. He's like, "This is a disaster."
Like, is it like extreme temperature? Like what? Why?
It's just like a can of soda will bulge and then eventually blow up.
Yeah,
like just left at room temperature. Like that's
carbonation.
Worrisome. That's problematic.
Jumbo,
probably should be putting that in our bodies.
Good question.
If you guys want to tie some lore together, do you want to know what closet that was?
Is it the closet behind you?
Was it that closet?
Is that where the doors broke?
Oh, faithful. No, it was not that. It didn't blow it off its hinges.
Damn.
Like a goddamn Speed 2 cruise control. Yeah, shout out the mountains. In conclusion, shout out the mountains. The real news we want to talk about right now is Nintendo and their big announcement today. Some people were thinking, maybe is this it? Are we ready? This is right around the time when they announced the Switch back in 2016. Is this when we're going to get some love for the next console? And no, Nintendo announced a new piece of hardware, but it was the Nintendo Alarmo. And if you guys want to guess what it is, it's an alarm clock.
It's so
a
stupid.
fat clock.
Yeah, it's a
fat cock. Time to change
clock with a $5 dono saying, "Oh my god, they made me into an alarm clock." Yeah, it's an alarm clock that has some like smart integration to it. You can it's going to make certain noises at certain times of the day. This goes with all of the Nintendo stuff. Like, this makes sense to me, right? Like, this is Nintendo is all about play and experimentation and lifestyle, and so all of this
Nintendo fan
out.
Does it make sense?
All of this checks out. Nintendo Sleep, Pokemon Sleep, like all these things, the vitality sensor, like all of this, it all orbits around Central Nintendo.
You just literally
$100.
Just program your phone to play music from Nintendo games to wake you up, and
it is 100 US American dollars.
It's like the playful functionality of this, they tell you, is that as you like toss and turn and waking up, it plays noises. So like it sees that you're moving and it reacts to you by playing noises. And is that like super unimpressive to anybody else? Like that feels like a complete waste of that sort of technology.
What's better, this or the Xbox fridge?
The Xbox fridge
is
like,
more useful.
You can only
it's
like
it's
4
just
cans
tiny.
in it.
Yeah, the problem is it's its size. But as a novelty, even it's fun to just have a slightly bigger Xbox because it just like I have one. It just sits in the room here.
Well, now you can have your Nintendo block on top of your little Xbox.
Like I can see this being like real fun for a kid. Like this is absolute great Christmas present to like a kid who loves you know Nintendo stuff. Like my son would eat this up, and he does need to wake his ass up on time certain mornings. But I don't know. It's
who uses clocks anymore? We all have phones and watches, smartwatch.
True. Yeah. Again, like this is the case for like young kids. Yeah.
The funniest thing is they said, so there's that movement based thing that you talked about where like if you're tossing and turning it'll throw different noises at you. They specifically say it will not work if there are multiple people in the bed. It is for children. It is for sad lonelies. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not proud. I bought one.
Oh, no. Is it already up for order? Because I should probably try to buy one.
It's up for
you guys. Come on.
It's for my child. It's for my child.
It's for my child.
All right. I don't have kids. I'm not buying it for my dogs.
I use the same excuse.
So what do you know? This is the Gooner clock.
No.
No, there's no Gooner allowed.
Listen, last week was all about Gooners. This week is wholesome. This week's about the nice clock, and it's about is Halo doing all right. This is the nice. Don't bring Gooners into this. Absolutely don't bring Gooners into this.
Goon Squad represent.
Goon Squad cannot represent with the Nintendo clock. But I'm sure they're gonna put something right. They'll announce a Switch soon.
Yeah,
who knows at this point.
I did.
They didn't do a whole direct for this thing or anything.
I did set several alarms tomorrow because I almost don't want to tell people the time because they said it's first come first serve. Okay, scratch when I put a date. Nintendo is going to be announcing. They put out a tweet that they're going to have a playtest program for current members of their online service, which is like Xbox does that all the time, right? Like Xbox Insider or whatever it is, where it's like, oh, test some new features. They've never done this before. Eric, put down the picture. I don't want anyone getting in before me.
I mean, play online games.
If any of these fucking mouth breathers get in before me, I'll kill them. But no. So tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central, they said first come first serve. They're gonna have a playtest program for something Nintendo Switch Online, which that hasn't changed in a very long time. So I don't know what that's gonna be. So my thought is maybe this is something to do Switch 2. Switch 2?
Nah, probably not.
New Switch. What do you think it is? Eric, don't put the fucking link. Don't give him the link. Make him Google it. God damn it, Eric. I swear to God, if they get in before me, go and ape shit.
There's no way this is something that you as a Nintendo fan want. Like that is my stance. Like if you could possibly be excited for what this turns out to be, it is not that.
You mean a modern online system for Nintendo that actually works well?
Like whatever it is they need to test, it is not to your benefit.
You know what?
That is a real
Casey, I'm not falling for that. This is just you trying to get everybody to go away so you can get in to make sure it's not about Smash Online.
I don't care about this. I'll be honest.
You're lying.
What if they're like, what if I sign up and Sakurai is like, hey Marty, it's me, Sakurai, your friend. I have a bunch of Smash news to share with you and you alone that you can't share with any of your friends and coworkers.
It'll never happen. And if Sakurai shared secret information with you and you didn't share with me, Marty, you'd be dead to me.
Understandably, understandably, I'm not I'm not a big fan of breaking NDAs for that one. It's probably worth breaking an NDA.
You know, that's what I'm saying.
But Sakurai and I would sign a friend NDA. That's what we'd sign.
If your life depended on it, would you break an NDA from Sakurai?
Why would
To
your life
Casey?
depend on it?
To Casey? Yeah.
Why would the Sakurai I know wouldn't threaten your life though?
But KC would.
Also, secret NDAs. If you trust the person, you can break an NDA. Why live with people and play
NDA rules,
games?
yeah.
Like, don't you've played games for review around people who didn't sign that NDA, right?
Yeah, my son has helped me play games that were under embargo.
Yeah. Play games with girlfriends and roommates. Yeah, your dogs have fucking seen your games, Nick.
If Nintendo
I don't
finds
see
out,
Barry signing in the NDAs.
Sure.
I
I don't need that alarm clock. I got my dogs.
Who let the dogs out, comma who. A couple of super chats before we move on to our main topic. Quintuple A, thank you so much with your $2 dono. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Metaphor Refantasio, go nuts, Marty. Oh, I will. Don't worry. That's for the final section. That's for what we've been playing. Did I tell you guys? Finished it.
How many hours?
Wow.
Shorter than Persona.
How many hours?
77.
That's like standard JRPG. No, that's actually like light
It's
JRPG.
Beefy. It's beefy, but it is not as beefy. So if you're worried about 115 hours, 77.
It's gonna take me 4 years to finish instead of the.
It'll take you a lot of years. It'll take you a lot of years unless you just sit down and fucking play it like an adult. I loved it. I loved it. We're gonna talk about it later. More Ink with 75 with $5 Canadian. Appreciate you. Everyone's on the edge of their seats waiting for news on Switch 2, Nintendo. ... Clock. I don't even. Do you think they know what they're doing?
I think they know what they're doing.
Or do you think they're just like so innocent and oblivious that they're just like?
I think
they're not
the
innocent.
second part.
They're not
the second
innocent.
part. No, I mean maybe
They
not
haven't even dropped the
innocent,
price of
but
Tropical
absolutely
Freeze still.
oblivious.
They're not innocent.
They have to be oblivious, like because the pressure from their fans to be like, "Hey, Nintendo, please," and for them to just be like, "A clock." Like, no, there's no way they anticipated
It's still
that people would shrug this off.
Eric put a link to a picture in our Discord chat, but there are like a bunch of 99-cent clocks you could just buy on the eShop that are like a bunch of bullshit companies. It was really funny that Nintendo's like, no, we will release the true clock. They should do the same with those hentai puzzle games that I got hoodwinked into buying two of for 99 cents.
Nintendo joins the Goon Squad.
Did you
When
imagine?
do they leave?
I mean, there's a couple. Like Splatoon is absolutely Goon Squad.
No.
Right there. Spladoosh. You kidding me?
Oh,
Titular Fat Cock, the aforementioned Fat Cock with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Fat Cock. I feel personally attacked. I don't blame you. I don't.
Are you worth $100, Fat Cock?
Ask Nintendo. Let them decide.
Is 100? Would you rather have a $100 Fat Clock or a $100? I'm not gonna finish that.
Yeah, don't finish that.
We're out with a €2 dono. Money for the lovely peeps. So Worm. Thank you so much, Jewel.
No, thank you.
Do you want to know about Halo, Nick?
Hey, hold on a
First time in your
second.
life,
You skipped the whole intro where I said I didn't come up with this topic today. Marty did, so nobody can get mad at me for talking about Halo.
I mean, I feel like in my intro, I like gave. I'd throw you if you needed to be thrown under the bus. I'd throw you under the bus. Like, this is big news. This
I'm
is
just perpetually under the bus. It's fine.
You just live under the bus. This is big news. Obviously, as we said, like Master Chief was one of the few that guys in the history of video games. We didn't have a lot of that guys. Master Chief's one of that guys. But the big Halo news that dropped right at the end of the weekend is that a lot of changes at Halo. Obviously, there were layoffs, and the future of Infinite was sort of up in the air over the past few years. But 343 Industries, the developer of Halo since Halo 4, has rebranded as Halo Studios. So just very clear cut, this is what we're doing. And they're considering this part of the Halo Legacy, which has been going on since 2001, to be Chapter 3. So the Bungie Halo was Chapter 1, the 343 Halo, which was 5 Infinite. That is Chapter 2, and this is Chapter 3 of Halo, which includes moving away from the Slipspace engine, their proprietary engine, onto Unreal Engine 5, which is what just a lot of AAA games and games in general moving on to. And they said several projects are in development and showed off they said it wasn't a tech demo, wasn't a proof of concept, but it was just sort of Halo existing in Unreal 5 to sort of show people that, like, hey, this can exist outside of the engine that we have created. All of that is to say, Nick, you are one of the biggest Halo fans I've ever met in my life. Like, what did you think about this news?
I'm in wait and see mode. Obviously, I'm working on my next unpack script, which is going to dig deep into the restructuring that 343 went to become Halo Studios, because I think a lot of people, like, the news has been kind of dropping sporadically for like the last 2 years, honestly, because like Halo 343's entire leadership team is different now. Bonnie Ross is gone, Kiki Wolfhill's gone, Joseph Staten's gone, Frank O'Connor's gone. Pretty much anybody that was in leadership at that studio is gone. And it's a completely new studio, so a lot of people are still, 343, it's the same people. It's like, no, that studio over the last 2 years since the launch of Infinite has gone through a complete transformation. I'm trying to find out if they're still using contractors like they were, but my gut is telling me no, because even like the vidoc that Eric's showing in the corner there, they're talking about like actually hiring talent to keep at the studio. And so I imagine all the issues that led into Halo Infinite have maybe woken Microsoft up as like, hey, this is our golden goose game. Like, we gotta treat this studio with the respect it deserves, not 18-month contract workers that we have attrition at the studio all the time. So this video in particular didn't do much for me aside from like, okay, cool, they're moving Unreal Engine. Like, is Halo going to make a comeback? I really have no idea, because I'm working on that unpack script, and the trailer that I always go, like, as soon as I finished Halo Infinite's campaign, and I was like left with huge disappointment. You can go back and watch my review on The Escapist about that. There's the initial reveal trailer for Halo Infinite in the Slipspace engine, where you get all these different environments, all these different animals, all this kinds of like really good looking environments and stuff, and none of that existed in Halo Infinite. And Jason Schreier's report on Bloomberg about the development of the game talked about how it, like, 2/3 of the content in the game was cut in 2019. It was supposed to be a big open world game, Zelda-ish, and you can feel that from the intro of the game when you step out of the prologue, basically, and you're greeted to the wide open, right? So, the game never felt complete in that way. So, I don't know, like, they can put out the flashy videos and the flashy concept art and the flashy tech demos like this, because that's what they did with Slipspace. But until I see the game in action and like they prove that studio is not just 343 again, and it's actually Halo Studios or whatever they're gonna do, like that's where I'm at with it.
Casey, we when we were going over like, wait, what are we going to talk about in this week's show? And I threw down this topic, and you're like, what's going on here? And I think I sort of summed it up as like, oh, this is their kind of last chance to reclaim their former glory. Like, they were, like, again, just remember, like, Halo was at the top of, like, Halo was bigger than Call of Duty at a time. Like, Halo was
was the it game, like the way people talk about like Fortnite or Minecraft at its height, or World of Warcraft at its height. That was Halo for a time.
And you correctly said, haven't we heard that before? That this is our last chance to re-reach that goal again.
Like,
have we heard that before? And
I myself have made that claim back when I was doing podcasts, probably on one of these shows at some point. Like that, yes, like this very much looks like it's 343's. Like Infinite was 343's last chance to sort of get it right before it falls into obscurity. But I think what this really tells us, because the same thing was said about Mass Effect when that was like hanging on by a thread. Probably Dragon Age, that was mentioned at some point. What I feel like I've learned from all this is that some IPs are kind of just too big. Like we'll never hear the end of Halo. Like even if this does come out and is a dud, they'll just give another try down the road, and everyone will be ready to give it a chance because people still love Halo. Like it's not as big as it was, but the love for how big it was still exists in like the DNA of just video game culture. So it just takes the one time for them to get it right, and it'll be back. Like that's kind of how I feel at this point. That being said, I'm very curious. Like, yeah, with all the tumultuous happenings over at 343, the slip space stuff that was just Infinite, right? Like 5 and 4. What engine were they using then? Like, was that not a factor?
They were still using their own engine, but
slip space was like an evolution of that engine. Like they said that there's certain tech in slip space that's been around since Halo 1.
Yeah, and it did not lend well to making a live service game, is what the big problem was. But
did Halo ever really become a live service game? Because like I understand that Infinite eventually was sort of disappointing, but like the base game, even if it wasn't everything they promised, I had a lot of fun in the Halo Infinite campaign. Like I really liked the concept that they went for with this sort of open world ish Master Chief experience. And like if they kind of just did it again and like added in more of the stuff that they wanted to into that world, like more environments, more different scenarios and whatnot, it probably would have been a better iteration. It's just that first one didn't hit because of, I guess, the tail on it.
Yeah. So the thing I'm worried about really quick, and I'll throw it to you, Nick, because you have a ton more to say than I do, is my thing about Halo Infinite is that game feels good. That is a good feeling game to play, and it feels like Halo, which I am very skeptical if, and I don't know a lot about engines, like I'm very ignorant to all this stuff, but I feel like Halo feels different than any other shooter. And it's felt that way since Halo 1, and it's been iterated upon all the way through. And no matter what you say about Halo games, they all feel like Halo. Can you do that in Unreal?
I don't think they would switch to it if they could not, because I think at least that studio knows how important the feel of Halo is.
What is Destiny built on?
Their own engine.
That's a good point. Destiny feels like Halo.
Yeah, Destiny feels like Halo.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the people who built Halo, of course.
Yeah. Gameplay feel comes down to animations and sound and all that stuff, which is all doable.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play any type of like military FPS on Unreal, and they all feel different. And it's just who's making the game, really. I don't think the engine is going to have much to do with that.
It's going to take the folks. It's going to take, like you say, Marty, like you recognize what Halo feels like when you play a game. If the people on that dev team know what Halo feels like, that's what they're going to be trying to hit. And like, it's not done unless it hits that mark. And like, the hope is that, that newer team care enough to be like, this needs to feel like the Halo we remember, as opposed to a brand new thing, because like we definitely want to see a bunch of iteration, but it does still need to feel like the thing that they're building on.
Yeah, and is what you said, Nick. With sorry, I'm actually going to ahead of you. But no, what you said with how so many of those familiar names, for better or for worse, are gone. So many of the names associated with modern Halo, and then even like Joseph Staten for Legacy Halo, are gone. Is that good? Obviously, Halo hasn't been fantastic over the past decade, but is losing that sort of a leadership or like ingrained knowledge good? What is it? What is Halo 25 years after it debuted?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm digging into in my script, because like the people that left were mostly management positions. People deciding, like Bonnie Ross and all that, really, and Kiki Wolfhill, and no ill will towards them or anything for the franchise, like a lot of the internet, but they wanted Halo to be, and they were from Microsoft, right? So they wanted Halo to be a big transmedia property where they had the movies, the TV shows, the games, the books, whatever it was. And
I mean, didn't we all?
Well, when you like, Halo 4 was a really solid game. Like, I'm going back and like looking and reading through the reviews as I'm researching through the script, and like, easy to forget like how positive people were about that game. Halo 5 is where everything really fell off the map because the marketing campaign was better than the game.
That was the Mike Coulter, right? Like,
yeah, Michael Coulter as a star. What was his in-game character name again?
Agent Locke.
Locke. I thought that's a cool character and name.
Yeah,
I don't know why people didn't like him that much. Just I guess just because he was hunting Master Chief and Chief.
Because there's so many John Locke fans from Lost, and they were like, you can't take that man's name.
People liked him as a character. The problem was like Halo 5's story was just a fucking mess. And then they tried to add in all these extra elements. And they did nothing with them. They dropped all these narrative plot lines. And then Halo Infinite rolls around. They try to reboot, but also keep elements from Halo 4 and 5. It becomes more of a mess. Now you have the Banished from Halo Wars 2, which nobody that doesn't like RTS games played, so nobody knew who the Banished were. Then you had to get a bunch of the prelude to Halo Infinite from a book, The Shadows of Reach.
Readings for nerds.
Yeah, like me. And so it just, Halo Infinite from the ground set was, from I guess the ground floor basically, was just destined to be kind of a mess because
they had too much baggage.
It was also tied with Microsoft just stepping on rakes and tripping on their own dicks.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like, so it's like it will forever be tied with that of what is this console? What is it launching with? Like what happened with the I guess that's the push and pull of if you are the guy, if you're the dude, then you're associated with the platform you're on.
Yep. And then, Halo Infinite was supposed to be a launch title for the Xbox Series S and X, got delayed a whole year and content and all this other stuff. So I don't know what the future of Halo looks like, but it is at that point where, and it's a point I'm writing about in the video, is I did not expect like Gears of War to just drop after 5 and go back to a prequel. And that tells me like Xbox kind of has it kind of figured out, like people were not as high on Gears 5 and to
Gears
save
5 was so good.
It was good. But the larger fan base didn't particularly love it. And so how do you win them back? You go back and you start over. And I think that's exactly what they're going to do with Halo.
It also feels like once you do a certain number of sequels in a continuous story, that is, you do sort of run out of steam regardless. Like you either have to start over or you end it.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Aftermath, the publication that started like right around when we started, right?
Yeah.
They put up a great piece of like, should Halo die? And it was less like after Halo and more of like, should we let these franchises end and then have them go on to something else? Like Bungie was able to leave Halo and make Destiny, and Destiny is certainly now without its problems, obviously, right now. But they were able to create something new. I'm getting a similar feeling to, which we'll talk about in a little bit, Metaphor ReFantazio, like the creative leads of Persona 3 and 4 and 5. They were able to make something different. Yes, that different thing feels a lot like the original thing in that Destiny feels a lot like Halo, but they didn't have those chains weighing them down, right? Mm-hmm. The chains of, there's 20 years of lore and you need to answer this and this. And there's some fans who love the books and some fans who play the RTSs and some fans who want X and Y and Z. And you could just make something fresh. And fresh is dangerous. Like, I have no doubt Metaphor ReFantazio is going to sell way less than Persona 5 did and then Persona 6 will. But there's just something nice about not having that baggage. And I don't know. I'm torn because I'm also I'm a fucking Zelda fan, and I'm a Mario fan, and I'm a Final Fantasy fan,
I mean, those I made a video about this way back when as well. Like those as sequels have the benefit of not continuing a narrative. Like they get to be brand new games if they want to be with every iteration, which is why they have such ridiculous longevity.
And that's kind of the thing. Like the problem with these franchises, I don't think it's so much the franchise, it's that they're afraid to let their star character go.
Yeah.
Instead of creating new character. Like Agent Locke was a cool character in Halo 5. I would have played a game with Mike Coulter as the lead star of a Halo game. And that's where like I believe Halo's gonna, at least where I would take it, is going back to the blue team stuff in Halo, which we've talked about on this podcast before, a little bit about the lore. Like blue team is Master Chief's squad, and the books focus a lot on that stuff. They have a lot of material there. That's where the show should have focused on, but they went this whole silver timeline bullshit, whatever they want to do with it.
Did the show get canceled?
Yes, the show got canceled.
Yeah, it got canceled.
Okay.
Yeah,
That wasn't even like me trying to take a dig. I was literally like, I can't remember.
Yeah,
but Halo, like, I love Halo 1 through 3, but I'm not gonna sit here and lie to you and say like the stories are like super great and in depth. Like those games are really good. I really like the stories, but I think there is a place where like they're doing with E-Day, where you can get more personal with it, more mature and adult. And Halo is a franchise
That's the Gears. What Gears is going to?
Yeah, and Halo hasn't really grown up with its audience. It tried to with 4, and then 5 was whatever 5 was, and the Infinite kind of reset things. But they didn't do like the full reset that I think they need to do to be that franchise and evolve with it. Kind of like God of War, right? God of War 1 through 3 and Ascension are all, you know, for that teen audience, and then that audience grew up, and God of War and
that's
God
a really
of War
good comparison.
Yeah, that's actually
dads.
Because Kratos and the original, I guess, all Master Chief almost feels the same, where they feel like an angry teen avatar for the audience, which is not bad, but it just feels like what it is. Whereas the Kratos in 2018 and Ragnarok, you know, feels like a maturation of that went along with the creators.
Like it's a character who's ashamed of what he's done in the past.
The Joker.
And I don't want that. I don't want that from Halo, but like even in the books, like the blue team storylines are much more adult and human stories than just big green guy shoots aliens.
I mean, that's
what if we have Master Chief and he's got a beard coming out of his helmet? Because a beard means you're ashamed of your past. If media has taught me anything, when you grow a beard, you're like, I got some demons in my closet.
Like things were not going well for the last 20 years.
I don't want to talk about Reach.
I do not think Halo will ever be the behemoth franchise that it once was, no matter what they do, because the multiplayer just isn't as fast paced and Call of Duty-ish. But the direction I could see it getting to that is if they really go back to the sandbox stuff that made it fun in the first place. Because Halo 4 and 5 and even Reach even like really started targeting that competitive audience, and that's where it lost its identity. Halo is at its best when you're in these big expansive maps. You got tanks, airplanes, or things flying around, people doing dumb tricks off of gravity wells and all that kind of stuff.
So, I mean, to that point, you may be right that in terms of like as being a multiplayer behemoth, it may never reach those heights because of all the competition. Mm-hmm. But as a co-op thing, it could absolutely eat the lunch of something like Helldivers, which was like a big ass hit from a no-name IP, right? Like if Halo all of a sudden was the premier group up with your friends, let's play through some PvP stuff experience, like that would
Firefight.
I mean, yeah, it used to be
huge,
right. Yeah, it used to have all the sectors covered, but like, yeah, if they really hone in on like one of their strengths, like the sandbox of its single player experience, but then you know co-op, because people like one of my greatest video game achievements was playing through the entirety of Halo 2 on legendary difficulty with like one of my old college dorm roommates. Like we just spent week after week going through every single level, getting through legendary. Like that's amazing. Like, can we have something like that back in Halo?
I did the same thing. We got 2 levels in. We're like, this is too hard.
Some of us did it. Marty tried it.
So it is mercilessly
I would love
difficult
to throw fucking Sean Zaromsky, one of my best friends, under the bus. But no, I was not pulling my weight in there. I was like a little bit better than he was, but it was not good enough to pull our team. Shout out to Sean Zaromsky.
Yeah, Infinite's such a frustrating project to even think about, because like you can see all the potential there. Like Casey said, the gameplay is really good, but man, that campaign, you could tell that campaign was thrown together last minute.
And we know
like every story mission is almost the same exact environment. There's no cutscenes. All the stories done through audio logs.
We know personally that there was cut story DLC. We know from reports that there's the canceled Battle Royale, the Tanaka thing that's been covered a bunch. So like Infinite was going to
research.
Be literally its name. It was going to be "This is Halo Forever."
That was the plan.
Also,
yeah.
don't call it. Don't be like
Yep,
this
I
is
have
going to be
that
the thing
Marty
forever
McMister.
because you just
Don't
shoot your
name
dick
your
off.
things infinite.
You just
Yep.
shoot your dick off.
I will fact check a little bit. Jiz Corden from Windows Central, as I'm researching that exact thing about the campaign DLC. Apparently, there was never actually any planned or cut DLC. It just never made it past talking, which also frustrated the shit out of me. Because I was like,
because isn't that where we heard it?
That's where, yeah. I think he was, something was concepted, but they never went with it.
Sure.
So I think once the shit hit the fan where like the live service stuff wasn't even ready, because don't forget, like, season 1 launched with Halo Infinite. Season 2 did not launch until May of 2022, so 5 months after. And then season 3 didn't even launch until November. Most games are launching like a season every 2 months at this point, if not sooner.
I mean, so that's
like
one of the
3
other
months
things
at the minimum.
Talking about Halo can never be what it was before is almost less because of Halo and more because of in 2001 to 2007, Halo was a very big fish in a relatively small pond. Now, Halo, no matter how big of a fish it could be, is in the biggest fucking pond. And
yeah, like Halo's responsible for that in part. Like Halo grew the sides of the pond.
And it's like partly like Fat Cock with a $5 dono. Love you, Fat Cock. Just a little goof. Call of Duty was better. They're now siblings, step siblings, half siblings. Like they're owned by Microsoft now. So
yeah,
like Microsoft owns Call of Duty, which was probably one of the things that steered a lot of people away from Halo in the, with Modern Warfare and the explosion from there. And then, you had Fortnite, you had PUBG, you have Siege, you just have a million games now. You have games from the creators of Halo and from the creators of Battlefield who are trying to form their own indie studios and make their own things. And I just don't. It seems so hard.
A good comparison is Battlefield. Like Battlefield was at the top of its game at Battlefield 4 and kind of lost its way after, even though like Battlefield, I love Battlefield 1 and I don't mind Battlefield 5 but Battlefield 2042, I don't like to talk about that one, but that is a franchise as well that is currently reinventing itself to try to take back that spot.
So both of you, obviously Vince Zampella is sort of overseeing the change in Battlefield. We have this with Halo Studios. If you had to put money on one of them, which one is still existing in 10 years? Which one's doing better in 10 years? Are they both still existing? Are you optimistic about both of these? Or either of these?
I'm Battlefield I'm more confident in. Because they kind of figured it out. That at the end of 2042's life cycle, they had figured it out. Halo Infinite also, I think, now that it's kind of at the end of its life cycle as well, has figured it out. I think like Forge is the best it's ever been. Like you can design.
People were starting to get high on it.
People are designing. Yeah, people are designing fucking campaign missions in Forge now. There's like you can put music in and AI and everything. It's crazy. Like there's a dude like making a whole campaign mission like with like Helldivers stuff or something like that. I don't even know, but it's insane what they're doing in Forge. So I think Halo does have like the template to be successful going forward. I think Infinite like really set up that team to know what they need to make, and that is the one thing in the Vidoc that I liked hearing is like we're focused on making content, not thinking around with an engine anymore.
Yeah, Casey.
Especially because they said they have multiple games in development.
Sure. Yeah. That's another thing they said is that they, with the shift to Unreal Engine 5, they don't have to simultaneously make an engine and the tools along with the game. They could just focus on the games, and it is plural. They have many projects in development.
So I'm curious, what projects do you think they have in development? Because I heard a rumor that I cannot remember from where that there's a remake on the way, like a Halo Combat Evolved remake. Is that a thing you would want? You think that's a good idea?
I don't. What happened there? Did I leave or you?
You're fine.
Oh, okay. You know what? Having I said no immediately, but also after streaming Halo CE a couple of years ago with Amy, I think that game could use a remake. Yeah, because like a lot of the levels are reused by design, but also limitations at the time. So I wouldn't be against it, but I wouldn't want that to be the future of Halo, just replaying Halo 2 and 3 again. I want them. I'm okay if they reboot the franchise entirely, but I want them to go back and use the books that they have that are great, that people adore, as their starting point, like focusing on Blue Team and Master Chief and all that.
Would it rub you the wrong way? Because I understand the logic of that, but would it rub you the wrong way as a big fan if they were like, we're just starting over? Like, this is Halo, like there's a Master Chief, but everything is different. Like the game is, what it is, and the story is this new path, and it has nothing to do with the books, nothing to do with previous lore.
They tried to do with this show.
We're not talking about a TV show though. We're talking about where Halo belongs, which is in the video game space.
Yeah.
Because I think for me, I'd be the most excited about something like that, something that is just fully unburdened by any of the lore baggage or history that the franchise has had to keep up with. Like, it's an IP, everyone knows it by name. That's like the value of the stuff to the big corporations. But for this new development studio, the freedom for them to just do what they want with that IP, I think would be awesome.
I'll go back to what I said about them aging up the game, because like they're in the books and all that. There's just so much politics and stuff going on between the UNSC, the the rebels, or I forget what they're called off the top of my head right now, but and the Covenant. Like there's so much going on there that the game's never really explored out of a base level of the prophets and all that kind of stuff, like some of the religious angles that it takes. I think Halo really could just go back to the starting point and go deeper with that stuff. And like, so many FPS campaigns these days are about squads and stuff like that. Like people love playing co-op. It's kind of weird. Even back then, it was kind of weird having two Master Chiefs side to side. And at the time, when it was Master Chief and Arbiter playing together, that was really cool.
Yeah,
because they played differently. Yeah. And so, like, I could see that working for Halo going forward, and revisiting a lot of the earlier stuff even before Halo 1, because there's a lot that happens before even Halo 1 happens.
But going back to what you asked, Casey, I 100% think the first project from the studio will be a remake / remaster of Halo 1, Halo 2, Master Chief Collection. I goofed. We're literally a month today away from the 20-year anniversary of Halo 2. I think we're gonna see something there. I don't know what that means, but like in the same way Naughty Dog very much was like, all right, when we moved to PS4, we had a certain group of our team kind of learn PS4 architecture by remastering The Last of Us. And then they did the same thing with Uncharted. And then on PS5, they did the same thing. Again, we will learn this architecture by having them remaster both Last of Us games.
I mean, honestly, remaking the first Halo in Unreal Engine would just be a good way to make sure, hey, this all works.
Yeah, and it would also be a good.
And I bet they are doing that.
And if we played it and we're like, oh man, this feels like Halo, but it just looks really good. There you go. That's like a vote of confidence for what they're doing going forward.
Yeah, it would definitely give them momentum.
Yeah, they don't need a whole massive team to remake that game. It's a good starting point. It's a good way to show confidence in the studio before they do their own thing again. I'm not against that, and it clearly makes sense to do that for them. But yeah, definitely, like I said, I don't want to replay all the games I've replayed. I've already played. I want to play something new, and if it goes back in time and just before Halo CE or more, even if we get a deeper look at the Fall of Reach from Master Chief's perspective and all that, great.
And that goes back to when his dad met his mom and he tries to bone his mom, like Back to the Future.
I don't know if I want to go back that far. We already got enough Master Chiefs in the show, but I like the Fall of Reach even would be a good starting place just from a Chiefs perspective, because that's a huge Blue Team story that we didn't get to explore anything outside of the books.
Yeah, that's a great point. Speaking of the books, True Mando with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, True Mando. Said, I'm reading the Halo Shadow of Reach and it's great. It takes place in between 5 and Infinite. Do you think the rebrand means more books soon? I don't think soon.
We've been getting lots of books. We're already getting lots of books, yeah. And a lot of those books have been expanding on the Banished and all that, so I don't know if they're going to drop all that stuff, but
they should probably drop all that stuff.
I don't. The Banished are just the Covenant 2.0, but they're a cool faction for what they are.
it is always interesting. Like Halo seems, or maybe themed, like it was ripe for multimedia. Like you had the Peter Jackson, Noah no, not Noah Baumbach. What's the guy from District?
Oh, Neil Blomkamp.
Noah Baumbach's like the guy who like
Blah 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 blah.
fucking co-wrote The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou and directed Marriage Story. A Marriage Story with Master Chief would be great. Neil Blomkamp, Peter Jackson thing, which never happened. But then we eventually got the series, and the series was whatever. It's interesting when they try to do an adaptation and it kind of flounders, and you saw that with like. You saw that with Mario in the early 90s. We've seen that with Prince of Persia, with Warcraft, with Assassin's Creed. Assassin's Creed's coming back, trying it again, right? Maybe Tomb Raider has tried it several times. There's now a Tomb Raider animated series.
Yeah, the anime drops soon.
Yeah, like this week, I think. So, to me, it's interesting because I'm pretty sure Microsoft is like, because none of their franchises have ever hit big. I guess Fallout has now, if that is a Microsoft
that would probably
franchise.
be the first one, yeah.
But I think everyone's seeing that Mario movie, even the Uncharted movie, made a lot of money. The Last of Us got a shit ton of awards. Fallout is obviously going to be a big show that's going to go on for a long time. I think everyone's viewing their properties as something. Oh, we can get a piece of that. Sony's trying to look at that and be like, oh, we got this God of War thing and a Horizon thing, and then a couple of our things are going to be in that Amazon series later this year, including Concord, which is what are we doing? That's like when like an actor dies and a year later you're like, Ray Liotta is in this movie. You're like, he died a year ago. Why is he in this movie?
I mean, I think like we've talked about this before, but like Last of Us did it perfectly. It's adapting exactly the games, but adding in specific extra story like they did with Nick Offerman's character, Bill.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how that happens in Last of Us 2 because they've been talking about part 2 because they've been saying there's going to be changes.
You know what we need to do for Last of Us 2? I don't care who gets elected president. Whoever their Secret Service is, they need to give them to Caitlin Dever, who's playing Abby in The Last of Us 2. Because that girl, a fucking treasure. Every movie she's been in since she was a fucking kid in Justified and Short Term 12. She's been incredible. She's in Booksmart. She's like so good. She's such a good actor. And she's playing Abby. Give her fucking snipers following her around that if any of these goddamn mouth breathers say anything mean to her, just take them out. Just take them out. Like, I feel so bad for this girl. I feel so bad for this girl. All she wants to do is act.
And then Fallout.
I wonder if she knows what she's getting into.
Fallout did the adaptation correctly by basically just using the world as its base and then crafting its own story within that world. Halo, if Halo's gonna do it again, follow the fucking books.
Well, I don't know. You described two successful adaptations that followed like complete opposite
Very different
lines of philosophy, right? Like Last of Us had a story, they adapted that story, and like that is the strongest selling point of The Last of Us, in my opinion. Like the gameplay is not what The Last of Us is selling.
Last of Us is already a movie as it is. We know this,
right? Exactly. And Fallout is a big open world with just tons of potential for stories. Like that's the crux of that game is you get tons of little super interesting stories all over the place, and the main through line is kind of in the background. Same thing with kind of all the Bethesda games, honestly. So like that absolutely works as an episodic TV series. Like Halo is somewhere in the middle. Halo has an okay story, but tons and tons of super engaging gameplay, and that's what holds people is the engaging gameplay and like the cool backdrop. And to losing the gameplay entirely as a watched medium adaptation, you got to fill in way too like so many more blanks than what's out there, and like no one's going to be happy because like it's not going to be the thing that they remembered from them being the center of the story.
No, they took the silver timeline and it's just blue team bastardized into their own bullshit. Like literally they took all the good parts and ruined it, then put all the other. Yeah, that's all they did actually.
I mean, you're probably right. If the books were good, They just adapt the books because, you're turning the book and its interesting stories into a visual medium rather than the gameplay that makes up the video games.
As Orbiting Peanut, it's not a cure all. Like, you still have to have good writers and everything to adapt them, because you can't 1-to-1 it. But like, the whole Silver Timeline thing they did is they just took elements from the stories that already existed and then tried to do their own thing with it and just ruined it.
They focus grouped them.
That's how we fix all movies going forward.
I'll still probably buy season 2 if it comes out on Steelbook, just so I can stare at it with contempt. But you know what? I don't think I'm gonna
put it on your dartboard.
Yeah, I have like 2 shelves. I have a shelf of like, this stuff I like, this stuff I really hate. And Halo Season 1 is over on that shelf I really hate.
I don't think that's a healthy shelf, Nick. You might need to just get rid of that shelf.
You should probably get rid of that shelf. That being said,
it exists in my mind.
The news today, before we move on to what we've been playing, the news today, you know what my most anticipated TV show right now is? And I don't know anything about these comics. I need Darren.
Lost again.
Lanterns.
I was
you guys
close.
know about Lanterns?
The TV series? Or this is an
upcoming HBO series that is Green Lantern.
Yeah, I've heard about this coming for a while now, yeah.
It is one of the lead writers is Damon Lindelof, the creator of Lost, The Leftovers, and Watchmen. And it is going to be they're describing it as True Detective, where 2 lanterns have to come to America. They have to come to Earth to solve a fucking crime in the Midwest. And the lanterns are Hal Jordan is being played, who's like the grizzled old like fucking I'm too old for this shit.
Yeah, like I started this Earth Lantern bullshit.
Yeah, is being played by the dude from Friday Night Lights, like the dad, the coach from Friday Night Lights, who's like, I'm fucking done with this. And then Jon Stewart, the young like fucking
I saw that news.
Lantern, is Aaron Pierre, the lead in Rebel Ridge.
Yeah,
and I'm like, oh my god, like Aaron Pierre, instead of being like fucking slow talking Don Johnson about like we have a problem right now, but him being like, I got a goddamn lantern ring on my finger. Sounds like the greatest television series of all time. I'm so excited for this. That's all I want. Just make more shows like that. Just make more shows that are nerd things, but then just put them in True Detective. That's all I want. I think that's the secret. But yeah, that's how you make good shows. Before we move on, Fat Cock, thank you so much. Another $10 dono. I agree with Casey. A Halo game without the burden of lore would likely breathe fresh life into the franchise. Also, on a side note, Casey still has the Escapist list on his Blue Sky.
Oh, yeah, I don't really use Blue Sky like that.
But yeah.
But I can change it.
Whatever. You can put whatever you want. We're not your dads.
I'd not even put a single post on Blue Sky yet.
You're missing out. The Blusky.
Rocking.
Are you in a rocking chair?
No.
Are you just rocking because you're excited? You talk about what you've been playing? Can I just talk about Metaphor first before we move on to anything else? I just really don't want to talk about
ruminating over Halo.
Go for it.
Okay, I just want to really quick. We don't have to spend a lot of time on it because we're going to have a topical punch up tomorrow that Nick, myself, and Yahtzee recorded. We almost went 30 minutes. Jesse did a great job of editing about our thoughts on Metaphor ReFantazio, but it comes out on Friday. That is the game we've been talking about for quite a while. That is the new big Atlas JRPG from the leads of Personas 3, 4, and 5. I have finished it, and I can officially say I fucking love this game. It is tied with Final Fantasy Rebirth as my second favorite game of the year, right behind Animal Well. Like it is so goddamn. Yeah, it's been a long year.
Oh.
It's been a long year. It is a game that I loved from start to finish. Yes, it is high fantasy Persona, but it trims away a lot of fat and also focuses on the things Persona does really well, which is a really engaging combat system that has a ton of depth to it, a gorgeous sense of style throughout its visuals and throughout its music, and incredible stories, both macro and micro. Like the overall story has way more twists and turns than I was expecting, way more than a Persona game. Like it had me on the edge of my seat the entire time, but also the smaller stories. Every time you hang out with your confidants, with your party members, with other characters you meet, they all have these story arcs that without fail are great. like they're great and they're emotional or they're funny or they're revelatory, and they all add texture to this world that is this high fantasy world where the king has been assassinated, and to fill his role, his ghost has come down from the sky in this giant planet form and said, "There's going to be a democratic election to fill my seat." And you are just a fucking kid who's like, well, I'm going to try to avenge the king. I'm going to try to become king. And so everything you're doing is trying to win the hearts and minds of people, which if you're an American in an election year, like, it is really funny to play this game now because it is about like the power of democracy and the power of like winning over people who are different than you and scared through genuine honesty and through like not only promising them that things will get better, but actually following through, and going against people who might have a serpent's tongue, who speak well, but obviously do not have the best intentions in mind for these people, and who might prey on the weakness and vulnerability and sort of scared nature of people. Just a fucking great game. Just I fucking love this game.
Like you really make me feel like I should try it. and I just feel like I'm not gonna feel what you feel, but like I'm very intrigued by that premise.
6 hours of talking in the opening,
which you could do in a free demo. And by the end of it, you are fine. The talking is so good, though. The talking is like really fucking good. It's just really good. I cannot recommend this game enough. To anyone who likes Persona, who likes JRPGs, or who likes the idea of this like sort of War of the Roses, Game of Thronesian, very very topical story about the promise of power, and also like the power of art and the power of storytelling and how those weave into our lives. Just man,
Marty, did you play Fable 3?
I did.
Because what you're describing in this sounds like what they were trying to do. Like, yeah. Is this basically like the idea of Fable 3 realized in like a real way?
I never put those together until this moment. I never put those together. And like, I'm not a crazy Fable 3 fan. I love Fable 2. Like, that to me is like,
yeah, Fable 2 is a great game for sure.
Yeah, but the Fable 3 of like, you're going to become the king. Like, how are you going to put together this kingdom kind of thing? How are you going to win this? That's actually a great comp. I wonder if anyone on the team played Fable 3, which they're Japanese. So probably not. No, not our team. Their team.
Oh, on the Metaphor team.
I'm going to be honest. They're Japanese, so probably didn't play an Xbox game. But yeah, that's a great point. Yeah, great comp. Really like it. Highly recommend. And before we move on, Dower Dodger with a $10 dono. Thank you so much, Dower Dodger. Since Nick will never finish P5R, not salty, I propose a funding goal for him to do a playthrough of that instead. You know what? Never say never. Maybe we'll get some news in the near future about Nick having to continue his little torturous game. Maybe other things will continue. Maybe if you liked 4 people screaming over a board game that doesn't make any sense, maybe we'll have some more updates on that.
I already said in the Discord that I'm doing Persona 5 next month. So,
oh, you fucking snitch!
There you go.
Nick, you've also been playing. Both of us have been playing some Silent Hill 2. Is this your first time through Silent Hill 2?
My first time through Silent Hill 2.
Welcome to the spooky city. How do you feel?
I quite like it. I guess I went into it expecting, sure, what I was expecting, honestly, but I'd always like anytime I seen gameplay, it looked like pretty linear. And it's not that it's not linear, but I actually love like the lack of direction in the game, and that like the map is just you gotta look and read the map and go explore and investigate things on your own a little bit. And having not played the original, just because people bug me about that all the time, but like when I grew up, my games were Halo, Call of Duty, and sports games. I didn't really expand my gaming horizons until I got into games media stuff around 2009. So I think my first Silent Hill game, I did play a Silent Hill game. It was really bad. Silent Hill Downpour.
Ha! Hey. You know, it's raining and our fucking truck is coming to town and stuff is not going well in this prison convoy.
Yeah. But yeah, I just got to technically, I guess, chapter 2, and I'm in the apartment block, and so that's been a fun area to explore with
First
plenty
big
of little
dungeon, I would
stairs.
say. Yeah.
Yeah, very dungeon. So yeah, I really enjoy it. It's unfortunately got that Unreal Engine stuttering problem on PC, and there's no cross saves. So I was thinking about picking it up on PS5, where it's probably smoother, but a couple patches, and I'm sure that'll be hammered out pretty quickly. Game's gorgeous. Acting is really, really good. Like I was immediately, just from that opening cutscene, which I've seen before, I was immediately invested in the game just from the atmosphere of that cutscene, and then walking that path into Silent Hill is just very different from a lot of games today. Might be a bit of Alan Wake 2's opening a little bit.
Yeah, which Alan Wake 2 definitely pulled from Silent Hill 2. Like that was one of the urtexts of it. The acting is I'm playing through it now as well. I'm halfway through the hospital, which is kind of the second major dungeon. And that is the acting is probably the biggest thing that's really impressing me, because the game famously, it's original 2001 PS2, the acting is weird and bad. Its defenders say it is weird and bad on purpose, and that lends to the sort of the surreal nature of the world. I don't subscribe to that. I just think it's weird and bad. And as someone who I like David Lynch, and a lot of the acting in David Lynch is weird and bad, and so take what I say with a grain of salt. The remake or the remasters on the 360 and PS3 and stuff in like 2011 or whatever that was, they cast like Troy Baker and Laura Bailey as these characters, and so the performances were better, but it was still like you're putting this acting over the weirdness of the original game, and so it never quite meshed for me. Whereas this, like, the actors and the performances and the staging of the cutscenes are so fucking good. Like it's really good. And I don't know, like, so far there's changes. The changes don't like completely change the meaning of the story. It's more of like, oh, we've moved some things around, and you think this puzzle is going to be here, but it's over here, and we've added another thing here. So it's less a thing you wouldn't notice. Like someone like Nick won't notice these changes because they all feel really natural. Whereas I'm familiar with the game, and I really like the changes. Granted, I'm not as like, Silent Hill 2 is not my favorite game of all time like it is Yahtzee's. So if Yahtzee's upset at the game, he has even admitted, like, he understands that. Like, he is not impartial. Like, that is not where he's coming from. And we all have that game, right?
Yeah.
That, like, if you touch that game, we are going to be so hypercritical. He was like, oh, the turn of phrase that she said at the beginning was different. I'm just like, fucking nerd. I don't know. I didn't notice that. But we all have that game. And so, but yeah, I'm really enjoying it. It's good. It's spooky. It's good looking. Oh, Bloober Team, I'm sorry I made fun of you. You.
Oh yeah, you had a lot of trash talk for Bloober Team.
Well, I mean everybody did. They hadn't really done anything like this.
They deserved it.
I don't even think they deserved it, but they've just never made a game like this. They've never made a game with gameplay in it, actually.
Yeah.
And I'm not to say like this has a ton of gameplay in it. It's like definitely got combat, and I would say the melee combat's very simplistic. But it works.
And this was a template to follow, right? Like this game existed, and they did it again.
Yeah, but they did it again. But everything they've done has been done really well. Like to me, this is as good. I haven't finished it yet. This is as good as the Capcom's Resident Evil 2 remix, Resident Evil 2 and 4. Like,
I'm sure that's what they were going for. That's probably very high praise.
100%. I bet this got greenlit when Resident Evil 2 was remade, and they were like, "Ooh, look at how good this is. What if we just do the same like over the shoulder cold camera thing that Resident 2 did?" And again, a lot of people will be like, ugh, "Gross." That's like you're homogenizing it into every other third-person game. But
you gotta get the I don't want to say the modern audience because that's a stupid term that everybody's using now. But you gotta get modern day gamers to play it.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I don't know. I think the game. Yeah, I think the game's really good. I hope a lot of people play it. Hardcore Silent Hill fans are mad, but hardcore everything is mad. So
yeah, I mean, nobody that's a purist of an original is gonna ever enjoy a remake unless it's done exactly.
They gotta soften those cores.
I still think. Listen, Joe Biden, if you're here, you only got like a month left. Put into law, pass it, just like fucking jam it through. That if you're gonna remake a game, you need to include a perfect emulation of the original on the remake. Then no one can complain.
That would be that would be a really nice addition.
Could you imagine if that's what Joe did right before he left office?
Like how?
Best president of all time, above George Washington.
That's Joe. We did it, Joe.
Like Japan has to follow this edict.
Yeah.
Like how did man, we really slept on Joe. He pulled a real cool one over on everybody.
I didn't realize you can still do it. I was also going to be like, Shinzo Abe, you got to do it too. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he got assassinated by like a Coke bottle a couple of years ago. So Shinzo Abe, you do not have to do it because you are dead. But whoever is leading Japan right now should probably do that.
I mean, honestly, you're just making a campaign promise from Kamala.
You can do it. You can do it.
That would have been all they gave.
Oh no! But what if Trump did it? And they'd be like, I gotta vote for Trump.
I mean, he's a liar.
Remakes in my games. I wouldn't believe him.
He'll tell you anything.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
This is the end for Kamala to win over the culture warrior gamers, though. Put that in her promises that she'll put a 1-to-1 remake, remaster, whatever it is, on the remake remastered disc.
That easy.
And that's it.
That's easy.
That's how you win the country.
Absolutely that easy.
If it were that easy, I think I would want to leave this country.
It was probably
but did you know you could control the weather?
Oh my god, I've been seeing that nonsense.
That is the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Casey, what do you say?
Cooked. We're so cooked.
We're absolutely cooked. You.
I think you said cooked.
We're also so cooked. You've been watching or playing anything?
No.
I've been playing a lot of stuff that I have talked about at length, so I won't bore you with any of that. But I have started watching some new anime stuff. Specifically, I started watching Uzumaki, which is the Junji Ito manga, which has just recently been adapted by Adult Swim. 2 episodes dropped, and apparently the adaptations for Junji Ito's work have had a lot of tumultuous happenings, and this one in particular has taken like several years to get out the door. And it's a very beloved manga series, like really creepy. Does it go by the name Spirals on HBO? I don't remember. Is it Uzumaki or just Spirals?
It's Uzumaki.
Uzumaki, okay. And the thing is, I'm not a fan of Junji Ito. Like, I don't read horror stuff, period. But I have a lot of his art burned in my brain because like I see it in like forums and like internet stuff that I scroll through, and there are a lot of other fans, and I'm like, that is exceptionally creepy, the art that I'm looking at, and I don't want to go anywhere near the actual story.
And he was going to be one of the concept artists on Silent Hills.
That would have been crazy.
So he was originally going to be a concept artist on that, obviously before it fell through.
Right. So, but a controversy arose with this show because after the first episode aired and like people actually really liked it, they thought it was a good adaptation. Episode 2 came out and the animation quality took a nosedive. Like the difference is night and day between how it looked in the first episode and how things were animated and looked in the second episode. And fans were just very baffled. Like, what the hell is this? They felt like the wool had been pulled over their eyes. And like a lot of creators and animators and stuff came out and said stuff and deleted stuff, but essentially they blamed like executives. They said like they kind of got screwed over in terms of like what they were told, what they were promised in terms of like funding, and they were faced with a couple of decisions in terms of either not releasing anything or finishing up the work that they did do and then releasing that, because like a lot of artists did put time and effort into it, and they went with that option. And all that being said, I think they went with the right call. Like, if you're gonna go ahead and start this project, yeah, just get it out there. Like it's only 4 episodes. Like, just get them all out there and let people experience, this thing in this medium. It is pretty funny though how bad the second episode looks.
It is crazy how good the first episode looks,
yeah,
and how terrible the second episode looks. And the one argument I've heard is like this thing is about a weird, discomforting world, and maybe that blends into like, yeah. And I'm like, no, the second episode is just this bad animation. No, the first episode is like really good animation. The second episode is like very bad animation.
Honestly, I was gonna say like maybe they should have maybe stuck it to the executives and just not released it. But then I'm thinking now I'm thinking like, no, actually people like love that first episode, and then the blame is on the second.
Yeah, like you can see the difference, right?
Yeah.
Like,
so maybe they could be like, well, give us more time for the third and fourth episode, or else it's gonna happen.
I mean, they had a ton of time. Like this has been in the works for like 5 or 6 years. So like it's really like one his name Jason DeMarco, who has done other like anime series for adults. Like he's behind Ninja Kamui as well, which I just started watching as well. But like he's done other stuff like of quality. So like it very much, but we've only heard his side. Like executives usually don't go out and speak on the internet, but he's essentially blaming them for this. So like it does really like put the ball in their court. But like usually they don't care. They're like, we don't give a shit what the audiences think. Like we've hit our bottom lines or whatever. Like we're moving on to the next thing. So that kind of sucks. But like
I see the big number drop off from 1 to 2, they will.
I don't know. I mean, outside of the whole art thing, like I'm probably gonna finish it out because so far I don't get what the appeal is of this. And again, I'm not a horror guy. I can appreciate how unsettling the art is. Like, because again, like I was very affected by some of the images that Eric's putting on screen now by just seeing them completely out of context. I was like, I don't want to know more. But now that I'm seeing the story play out, or at least the beginnings of the story play out, it all kind of seems like nonsense and like it's not intriguing to me, and I'm not being pulled into this creepy world. And like there are creepy stories that I have liked that I thought had great writing, like stuff from like the Midnight Mass guy, for example, whose name Mike Flanagan. Yeah, I keep getting his name, but like Mike Flanagan's a great writer who really pulls in a lot of that Stephen King-esque horror, and I've liked a lot of Stephen King adaptations as well. But like, I'm not really feeling Junji Ito's storytelling, and I maybe that'll change. Like maybe I'll get some of the explanations that make this satisfying. But like so far, it's like this all feels like a vehicle for his very creepy body horror centric art, and it's like that is amazing. Yes, the body horror imagery, but like the threads piecing it together are stupid as far as I can tell right now.
He just might be a guy who works on the page and doesn't work in animated form, because I've watched a lot of his animated series and like none of them
they keep failing.
And his manga, his comics, his animated or his physical things are like really creepy. Like Uzumaki's really fucking creepy, and I just don't even. I really like the animation of the first episode. Didn't hit me as hard as the comic did. So
you did read the manga before?
I did. Yeah, I read the manga in like college. Yeah,
and that was affecting to you, like the storytelling of it. Okay,
very formative. Whereas I thought the first episode I was like, this is pretty good. The second episode I was like, this is really bad. What's going on here? Have you watched Den?
I'm going to, because that, oh my god, the trailers for that look so gorgeous.
That is
I'm going to start that.
That is out of this. I didn't know how do you put that much animation into something? They did so much animation.
Yeah, that looks like a movie.
Yeah, Den series. It's a weekly series based on a manga. It's on Netflix, debuting weekly. The first episode is out. It's probably going to be like it's going to be this season's big. It's going to be the season's Chainsaw Man, or
I can see that.
It is definitely George Lucas. Close your ears. It is definitely like horned up in a way you need to like be willing to like lean into like manga anime horned up in a way.
Like, I did not get that
looking around
at
the room
all
like,
from the trailers.
Is anyone here like watching me watch this? But it's so funny.
Thank you for letting me know that, because I was totally just
I would not watch. But it is about these two high school kids. There's a guy who is obsessed with UFOs and the idea of aliens, and a girl who does not give a shit about UFOs, thinks they're fake, but who is obsessed with ghosts and the paranormal. And the UFO guy does not give a shit about ghosts. So it's like these two separate things. It turns out both of them are real. Like ghosts and aliens both exist. And the first episode is it is great. It is great. Do not watch it around your priest. That's my quick review of Den.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, look at that image. Wow.
Yeah, it's Den. Yeah, it's the alien. He's got a weird he calls it his banana.
Scrubs coming out of the wrong way.
It's fine. It's his banana. It's fine. We're never gonna have this show sponsored ever. Thank you. Show that one. That's a spooky ghost. That's great. What else? What are you guys watching? Eating anything else?
Yeah, real quick, I'll just say I've started Ninja Kamui, which I was told to start like a really, really long time ago. Another Adult Swim anime joint. Beautiful, gorgeous animation and like fight choreography. Really basic story, like not in a bad way, but like think John Wick, right? Like it's very, very simple premise. A guy who apparently has lived, a certain kind of life beforehand, gets his retirement interrupted, and now basically has to come out of retirement and kill a bunch of people. So like nothing you haven't seen before, but it is gorgeously animated. Like there's some sick ass fight scenes, tons and tons of like if you're into that sort of thing, like bloody gore and decapitation and whatnot. So if that's your bag, definitely check this out. Like I'm having a good time watching it so far, but it's really popcorny. Like it's not hitting me that deep, and maybe it'll have like some conspiracy stuff or some metaphors down the road. But if it doesn't, I think I'll be fine. Like I feel like I have needed kind of a turn your brain off action thing.
Oh yeah.
And this is fitting that bill.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, having a good time with it.
Cool.
But that's all from me.
Nick, what about you? Anything else?
I won't be on the rewind on Tuesday because I didn't get invited, but I'll be traveling anyway. But I did finish up Rings of Power season 2.
I literally you said I'll be on if there's room, and I said yes, there is room because Jack's not there. We can have 4 people.
I missed that. My apologies for throwing you under the bus. But now I'm pulling you out because now I'm going to talk about it anyway because I won't be there.
Don't talk about it. Talk about it on Tuesday.
I won't be here. I'll be traveling.
Oh, what the fuck are you mad at then?
I didn't know I was going to be traveling when I sent that message.
What is happening? You said I'll be on the show if there's room, and I said great. Jack's not going to be there. We can have you as the 4th.
But I didn't know I was going to be traveling yet. Anyway,
it's actually another spiral. This is Junji Ito's.
Also, don't spoil anything because I still haven't watched literally any of the season of Lord of the Rings, so I'm binging that this weekend. Ooh, I'm out of town. I'm binging it at some point. I'll watch it all before Tuesday.
Then I enjoyed season 2 quite a bit, actually.
Great, I've heard good things.
Yep. I don't really know the lore of the Silmarillion or whatever it's called. I don't know how you can pronounce it.
Yes, probably not that.
The deeper Lord of the Rings lore, I don't know. As a TV show, I had a good time with it. A much better time than I did the first season. Okay. Also, there's a reveal. You already know the reveal. Doesn't matter. It's stupid. I don't care. I'm just moving on from the reveal. It's fine. You'll talk about it on Tuesday, and you're all going to say it's stupid. It's fine.
As long as assuming I watch it by Tuesday.
You'll watch it.
I realize I gotta watch that tonight. Probably I gotta start.
Oh shit!
It's only 7 episodes, right?
8.
Yeah, and today's only Wednesday.
It's 8 episodes. Yeah, but I did play another. Yeah, it's 8 episodes. I did another big franchise thing though. I played and beat Star Wars Outlaws over the past week. Did you beat it, Marty?
No, I haven't beat it yet. I ended up with Metaphor Fantasio and fucking Zelda.
It is. It's a weird one, man. I liked it, didn't love it. The story didn't really do a whole lot for me because it's weird. I talked about it in my Unpacked video because this game's really hard to talk about because I liked it I finished it in 12 hours. I finished the main campaign in 12 hours. It was a decent campaign. It had some fun missions. Really good environment art, but the gameplay, which is obviously the most important part, and everybody's going to roast me for that, is really shallow. Really shallow. And I put out a tweet the other day that it says, this game probably should have just dropped all the open world stuff and just made a Uncharted-esque Star Wars adventure and stuck with it. Because that's when the game is at its best moments, when you are climbing up an old High Republic cruiser and solving puzzles and getting into combat and then getting into a high octane moment and then moving on. That's what the game should have stuck with, because all the open world stuff is just, it's pretty. It's fun to be in Star Wars, and I get the appeal as a Star Wars fan of this is I get to live on Tatooine for a day. But I just never found a good reason to really explore or do anything. Mm-hmm. the side missions you're immediately given them. Like there's a few you can find, but they're all just kind of fetch quests. The main side missions you get are from the what are they called? The syndicates.
The hut.
Yeah, well, you get
Sorry,
the
I just
side.
wanted to talk about the huts.
Yeah, they get the side quests from the syndicates, and those are like actually good fleshed out side quests. Like they have cutscenes, they have big action moments and all that. So like, don't skip them if you do play the game because they are worth doing. But the rest of it is like go pick up this stuff for an ability unlock, and I went through the whole game without unlocking like 90% of the abilities because you just don't need them. And I even upped the difficulty because it's not necessary.
You're a real gamer.
Yeah, so because like it was too easy on normal. Like if you've played any third-person shooter, definitely upgrade the difficulty because it's too easy.
I think it's a very nice amount of easy. Disagree.
But there's just not like, I don't know. There's nothing really going on in the open world. There's a few times when like stormtroopers like land to get some like gear or whatever. You can go stop them from getting the gear, but it's like it happens same way every time. It's in different locations, and like not being able to interact with like the civilians or like even like just have fun with the sandbox of like having the GTA wanted system in there is really, it hardly ever affected me. And so it's a game that like I didn't mind it. It's a fun 12-hour experience, but it's not a game that I would ever rush out to play again.
Since Joe Biden is listening, pass through, in your final few months, pass through all remakes need to have perfect emulation of the original. You know what? What about 2 years with no open world games? We'll just see what happens. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah,
take a breather. Let's just see what happens. What if it starts
after
worlds?
This starts after Monster Hunter Wilds releases, though, right?
we all get one. Everyone gets one. Everyone gets one. Where it's like, okay, you can put that out. Okay. Well, there's a new Zelda. Yeah, you can put the Zelda game out. That's fine. Yeah.
So
we all get one.
I get like, if I had to give it a review score, I guess it'd be like a 6 out of 10 because there's moments where I really enjoyed it, but the best part of the game is like the last mission. It's like the most Uncharted-esque type mission that you get out of the game. But it very abruptly ends, and there's like interesting story twists and plot and all that. It's like right when the plot of the story actually gets interesting, the game ends, and it's pretty.
Did you want any more?
It did, but yeah.
No, that sounds annoying. I wasn't trying to like. I haven't gotten that far yet, but
yeah.
I do still want to check it out. I haven't played it at all yet.
I think it's worth checking out, and I do hope it is the foundation for a sequel that takes what was good about it, strips away what wasn't, improves upon things. Like this could be like a sick ass. We say that about a lot of games, but this like could be an Assassin's Creed 2, Uncharted 2, sort of like, damn, took a hot beat and made a hot song.
Yeah, I mean that's how games have traditionally functioned, right? The second time out is the formula.
Yeah, you built the foundation and then you built upon it for the second time.
It's only sold 1 million copies, so unless it sees a second wave of sales, I don't think we're getting a sequel to this one.
You know what's cooler than 1 million? 1 billion. Justin Timberlake, Social Network. The last thing I want to
I have one more game.
Okay,
but if you want to go first, you can. If you want to go first,
talk about your game. I just want to talk about a book and leave.
A book?
Talk about your game.
You're reading a book?
I read a book.
You talked about Halo books.
Talk about your game.
I'm already talked about it all the time.
Talk about Witchfire.
Yeah, the other game I've been playing is Witchfire. Which, Casey, you did that one for Hidden Gems before?
Before it hit 1.0. I played it.
It's not 1.0 yet. It won't be on 1.0 until the end of next year. No, it just came to Steam, which is why I finally played it. And they did a big content update. But I remember loading it up before, and I didn't like it at all. And it was like right around the time they launched it in early access. Now that it's come a long way and they've added a lot of content, I actually really love it. It's basically Destiny meets Dark Souls, and I kind of love that.
Don't say that. That's what a gross. It's not Destiny meets Dark Souls.
It is. It has the gunplay of Destiny with the gameplay loop of Dark Souls.
Wow.
I haven't played this game. That sounds like bullshit to me. You said it's
not. I'm really curious what the gameplay loop of Dark Souls is, because this is an extraction shooter. right? Or did that change?
It's still it's an extraction shooter, but you are gaining souls to level up. Basically, you're unlocking weapons and finding gear.
Experience.
You go through
tree.
Yeah, there's like tough as nails bosses later on and stuff like that. It's not like as hard as Dark Souls or anything. I'm not saying that. It just basically has, if you like that loop of like learning a map, where to go to find items, get to the combat arenas, get to the bosses, find some puzzles and all that, and then make sure you get back to the bonfire or the waygate that they use in the game to make sure you can get back and level up your character and keep coming back stronger. Like it has persistent progression, which is good. It's not just another roguelite like Extraction where you lose everything. If you like that gameplay loop, you would actually probably really dig this. The first map is really simple, but now that I'm on the second map, there's a lot more going on in it, and the maps as they go keep getting more and more complex.
Is there patches?
I don't know.
Are there patches? Is there patches? There's only one man I want to care about. Is there patches?
If I get kicked in the butt off of a cliff, I'll let you know.
Hell yeah. I feel like it wouldn't feel the same if it was in first person.
You'd be like, who moved me?
Did I just fall? Because I'm bad at judging where the ground is. This was by the astronauts, right? This is the this is the Bulletstorm, Gears of War, Judgment, Vanishing of Ethan Carter folks. Really talented Polish studio. So
Link, come also know what the game is called. Witchfire just popped up on the screen.
Witchfire. Yeah, not a great name for a game. Also been in early access for a long time, but I've heard from several people before you brought this up that it's actually coming along very well.
Yeah, it has come a long way since I last played it. I really enjoyed it. The last game I played that I just want to talk about for 10 seconds. Visions of Mana.
Why are you playing Visions of... You've never played Chrono Trigger?
Know.
Fucking stop playing Visions of Mana and play Chrono Trigger. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Is Visions of Mana connected to Chrono Trigger?
No, it's just fucking... What are you doing? What are you doing?
I just loaded it up and I didn't know what to do with it. And I was like,
we've had Fantasio for months. For like a month.
The combat, but it's like real-time combat. It's kind of fun.
Yeah.
The world's really pretty too.
That's a good point. Real-time combat over turn-based.
They take away... They go into a cutscene like every 2 seconds, and it drives me fucking nuts. They took all the trappings of a JRPG that has all the text and put it in a third person action game.
It's a JRPG. It's just a Mana game. It's just a JRPG. They tricked you.
Yeah, the Mana games were always real time combat. Like even back on Game Boy, right?
Mana games were always real time combat with all the. It was a Square Enix game. Just play Chrono Trigger. What is wrong with you? I'm sorry. That's really I shouldn't do. I have tons of blind spots, but what?
I'm waiting for the Silent Hill 2 remake of Chrono Trigger.
But honestly, that's probably going to come next year. Square is desperate. Square is desperate, so they're probably going to be like, "Oh, we got to do this again in 2D HD."
There you go.
Yeah, I didn't play Visions of Mana. I played the demo. It didn't do anything for me. I'm not a crazy Mana guy. Secret of Mana doesn't do anything for me. I like Legends of Mana, which is a PS1 game that looks like a storybook come to life. But yeah, the Mana games. I like that there's like a cool big tree. I like a world where there's a big tree. That's important.
Yeah, I love the art of those games. That's what dragged me in. And I never finished any one I ever started, but I did try a couple of the Game Boy ones.
Yeah. We need more games where it's like there's a big tree and we need to do something to save this tree.
It's a weird story plot where like, the dude's like dating the girl and she's like, I got selected to go be sacrificed to the tree. And he's like,
I love that. That's a great
Let me get rid of my girlfriend.
That's a great answer. Yeah, Final Fantasy X is all about we gotta take Yuna. She's gonna go in fucking hell.
The only reasonable guy. The only reasonable guy in the game is introduced at the front. He's like, no, I'm not gonna let my girlfriend get killed by the tree, and then she turns into stone.
Rip.
Should have let her go. Should have let her
be reasonable.
Yeah, then the main character is like, no, I'm just gonna throw my girlfriend into this tree. I'll take you all the way there. See,
it's better than stone, ain't it?
I don't know.
We saw what happens when you don't listen to the big tree. It's bad. You're just a stone person.
Guess you die either way.
Last thing I'm going to talk about a book. Several months ago, I got a copy of Play Nice. This is Jason Schreier's book that just came out this week on the rise and fall of Blizzard Entertainment. This was actually this was my beachside reading when I was in Punta Cana this summer. I jammed through this book in like 3 sittings. An excellent read. And this is coming from someone, I am not a Blizzard person, clearly. Like, I've never been a StarCraft, a Warcraft. I've never been an RTS person. I've never been into WoW. But Jason Schreier, the former Kotaku writer, now Bloomberg writer, just a video game journalist, wrote this entire book about the story of the creation of Blizzard, its rise to becoming one of the biggest studios on the planet with StarCraft and Warcraft, the World of Warcraft, especially. How it ended up getting under the thumb of Bobby Kotick, eventually its journey into getting acquired by Phil Spencer and Xbox, but also incredible inside stories of, there's parts about the toxic work culture there, but there's also parts about the experiments they tried to do that never got off the ground. Like, I learned so much about games that never existed here. Like, what happened to StarCraft Ghost? What happened to several other crazy projects that they had in the works? Some things that had to do with Diablo and Warcraft and StarCraft. Some things that tried to be completely new IPs, including their take on an MMO superhero Animal Crossing that ended up becoming Overwatch. Like, It is fascinating. Like, this book is absolutely fascinating. If you like Blizzard, or if you just like video game history, like, this is such a fun, light read through that history. Learned a ton. It was great. And like I said, I'm not even a Blizzard guy, and I thought this was a great book. So I recommend it. I threw the Amazon link in there. Buy it anywhere. Buy it at a local bookstore.
Waiting at home for me.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. So I would love more books like this, especially like, give me a FromSoft one like this. I mean, it's gonna be hard to get a Japanese one because it's hard to.
Well, they won't even.
You gotta learn Japanese first.
Those like folks are less apt to do sort of interviews afterwards, whereas a lot of these people were able to go on record or off.
Danny O'Dwyer from NoClip has been trying to get into From Software for years to do doc, and they're like, we just don't do that stuff.
It's tough. It was absolutely tough.
It sucks because like there's the history of the studio has got to be fucking awesome, but
great stories to tell. Highly recommend that. So great read. Check it out if you're interested in that. We did it. We made it to the end of the show. I only yelled at Nick once or twice. I regret one of them. The second one I do not regret. The Visions of Mana one, I do not regret yelling at you. Like, that's weird. What are you doing? Just play Chrono Trigger.
Why?
You turkey?
Yeah, wait, I want to go back to that for a second. Casey asked, and you didn't really answer. What does Chrono Trigger have to do with Visions of Mana?
Yeah.
You are nothing other than they're both Square games, but it's mostly Square made literally the greatest JRPG ever made, and then is now making games that are fine. But it's just, if you're going to spend your time playing their fine things, like, go back and
just go back in there. All right,
go back, give yourself 15 hours to play the greatest game of all time.
Why do you yell at me when I played Chained Echoes or Sea of Stars before Chrono Trigger?
Because that was fun. Because those are like,
they're not Square made, I guess, right?
They're trying something. Yeah, I shouldn't have got mad. Oh, no, I'm fine. I'm fine that I got mad at you. Whatever. I don't regret anything. But yeah, that does it for us on this week's Firelink. Casey, what do you have going on? What should folks check out?
As usual, you can find me all over the internet, including Blue Sky, with an updated bio, because there was a lot of old stuff on there, I realized. At Sigma Gears 9. This weekend, there will not be a wedding stream because my fiance is participating in a friend's wedding or something. But Nick and I will be doing, I believe, a spooky stream. Right?
No, we're doing a sponsor stream.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're doing a sponsor stream.
Voin on Friday. VOIN for anybody.
Voin, yeah. So catch us for that, and then I'll probably just do like a solo thing on my own channel afterwards. So it will be a long stream session for me. Marty and I will be starting Metroid Prime tomorrow. So excited for that, because I have not, I played like maybe the first 3 hours of Metroid Prime and then never touched it from that point forward.
Whatever you think you should do to prepare for scanning, prepare for scanning. Whatever, in the next 24 hours, however you think you should mentally prepare for scanning. Prepare for scanning.
It's going to be Batman Arkham Asylum all over again.
That's great. I'm excited.
Outside of that, we got some fun original shorts content coming soon. So be on the lookout for that on the main channel here. And I think Nick sent out a message already in the Discord, but we are converting our old Escapist live stream channel into our shorts and clips channel. So you're probably already subscribed to that, but if not, head on over to that. That's now called Second Wind.
You said the Escapist.
Or Second Wind.
I'm sorry, I said Escapist. I'm sorry.
The Escapist. We don't work there anymore. It's almost
I meant
a year, Casey. Get with it.
I worked for Escapist for several more years that I've worked here. Okay,
it's very hard.
It's gonna take
I still call this place IGN every once in a while.
It's gonna take some time. That's our history, right? We can't be ashamed of our history.
Exactly.
But yeah, check that out. We're working on some really fun stuff that's gonna be popping up here, there, everywhere. I think that's all I have on hand. Make sure you're watching Adventures Not Remasters because they are great. That's all I got.
Hell yeah. What about you, Nick?
You can watch my Unpacked episode that came out this week. I was really happy with how that one turned out on breaking down all the stuff that's going on with Ubisoft. And my next one will be on breaking down all the stuff that's going on with Halo. Kind of, if you liked our discussion earlier on Halo today, I'll be doing a much more in-depth dive on that.
And then an Alarmo one afterwards? Breaking down the Alarmo?
Yeah. No, the next one I have to do after that is Star Citizen. I was waiting for CitizenCon to happen, so
several regulars have DM'd me.
Yeah,
Nick the OG was a fucking backer 35 years ago. Like we got some inside sources on this.
Yeah, I'll be Halo and then the big Star Citizen episode, which maybe I might spend a little bit more extra time on to make sure I get it right. But other than that, J-Mate and Marty will be starting Resident Evil 7 tomorrow as well.
Ooh.
Yeah, noon tomorrow. J-Mate's never played Resident Evil 7. Jess is going to be joining us as well. Three of us will be playing Resi 7. Jess has never played a Resident Evil game, which is insane because it feels like she was like born in the fucking mansion.
Interesting.
And J-Mate's never played Resident Evil 7, and I love that series, so I will be their Sherpa through it. So that'll be at noon. Yeah.
And then I'll be traveling back to Kansas City tomorrow. So we may be doing a Dead by Daylight game night stream this weekend. So stay tuned for that one as well.
Girls, you got Voyne on the minds.
Fun.
You got Voyne on the minds. Great. And then before my stuff, Tower Dodger with a $5 dono. Thank you so much, Tower Dodger. Hooray for spooky streams and prime time. We got a lot of spooky streams planned for you. You're going to get, trust me, this is going to be up the wazoo. By the end of the month, you're going to be like, please stop it. Bring us back. Bring back nice things.
Bring back the happiness.
This has been too scary. But yeah, we got both Resi 7 and Metroid Prime tomorrow. Dev will be on Friday at noon. I should have a new 3MR or fucking shit. What are these things called? Bite size.
See, you talk about me.
And Eric, I did so many more 3MRs than Bite size that Eric is editing. And then we also have a couple of topical punches in the chamber. We'll have a Metaphor Refantasio one up tomorrow, and then we should have an Undisputed one that Casey, myself, and Jesse Galena recorded earlier today, probably up this weekend. Hell yeah. And then Quintuple A with a $2 dono. Thank you so much, Quintuple. Safe travels back, Nick. Agreed.
In Nebraska for 5 weeks. Time to go home.
Good time. We love Nebraska here.
Also, if anyone is in the path of Hurricane Milton, please be safe. Oh my God, please be safe.
Our Florida pals, our Southeast pals, that shit's scary, especially coming right off the heat of Helena. Like, fucking weather.
we got to do something. We got to do something about this.
We got to do something about this weather. I don't know what we have to do, but we need to do.
We got to fix this climate.
We got to fix this climate. That'll be number 3 for Joe. It'll be fix the remakes. Already forgot what number 2 was, but number 3 is fix the weather.
We gotta do cloud seeding to control the weather.
Shit, what was number 2?
What was number 2? What was Joe doing? Maybe like a new
Make sure to take a number 2.
Yeah. Also, just stay regular.
Oh, no more open worlds.
No more open worlds. That was it. No more open worlds.
Except one for every person.
Original game, remakes, and fix the weather. Perfect. So for Casey, for Nick, and for Eric, this was Marty. Thank you all so much for joining us for Firelink episode number 40. Great to see you all, and we'll see you back here tomorrow for Resi and Summer Emblematic. And is that tomorrow? I just said that.
Yes, Summer Emblematic tomorrow.
Resi, Summer Emblematic, and Metroid. Perfect. Bye, everyone.
And Metaphor's topical punch.
And
Big
metaphor
day tomorrow.
bye everyone.
For all of it, be square.